Hi everyone! I recently discovered a new YouTube channel, or at least new to me, and sorry LJ, but I'm probably going to screw up the name of your channel so bad, but Create with Scudgecraft. Okay, I know I've screwed it up, but there is a link below in my description box where you can find it, and recently she posted a fun fold card and showed how to make it, and she did it 5x7 size. And I really love this fold, but I wanted to make it an A2 size. So as usual, I did my math thing and came up with all the right sizes to make this, and I'm going to share that with you today. And since I don't know what the card is actually called, I'm calling it an inverted Z-fold card. Now, my daughter thought it should be called a Shadowbox Z-fold, but my husband said no, he liked inverted Z-fold, and in the end we all agreed on inverted Z-fold, and you'll probably see why when we get it made. So let's head on over and let me show you. So I'm going to start you off with these written and visual directions, and you can either pause this and do a screenshot, or I'm also going to have a link below to a blog post where you can find this on Crafter's Castle blog. And here is a sneak peek of what this card fold looks like. To start off, if you're using a piece of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock, you just need to cut that in half so that you have two pieces that are 5.5 by 8.5, and you're only going to need one of them, but you'll be able to make two cards. If you have 12 by 12 cardstock, just cut it down to 8.5 by 5.5. The cardstock that I'm using has a pattern on one side, which will be the front of the card, but for all the cutting and scoring, I'm going to do it on the back so that it's easier for you to see. Now, in the directions that I showed that you can print out, it says to put this at 3/4 of an inch, which is way up here, and it actually makes it a little bit difficult to get the paper where I want it and hold it in place. So while you're watching this video, I'm going to show you a tip that is not in the directions. So in the directions, it says after you do 3/4 of an inch, to move it down to 4 3/4 of an inch and do your cutting from there. Well, let me show you how I'm going to do both of them from here. So we don't have to do the 3/4 of an inch. Both cuts will be done with the cardstock at 4 3/4 of an inch. And I have used washi tape to mark where I need to be cutting between, because I didn't want to have to stick my head down here and do this, because all you'd see is the back of my head. So we're going to cut it from 3/4 of an inch to 5 inches. And remember, this is at 4 3/4 inches. So I'm going to slide this over. And actually, well, let me see if I can get it past there really quick. I didn't even try that. Boom! Okay, I got it past. There we go. I'm going to get this back at 4 3/4. And this is at 5. And I'm going to cut over to 3/4. And I actually still need to get a good view of this, because where this is where the blade is cutting. So I need that to come even with that. And again, at this end, I need it to be even with that. Okay, so now we've put in our first slit. Now, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to flip it over this direction. Okay, not this direction, but this direction. And I'm going to move it right back down to 4 3/4. And we're going to do that cut again. So we're going to start at 5. And we're going to go over to 3/4. And we have now put in our two cuts that are 3/4 of an inch from each side and 3/4 of an inch from this side going over to 5. And now it's time to do our scoring. Normally I would use a scoreboard, but because some of the scoring is just going to go in between these lines, it's hard to do it with a scoreboard and stay on the right line. Or at least it is for me. So what I'm going to do is try to move some of that washi tape. I'm going to be doing my scoring this way, and I'm going to be using a little stylus. You can use your bone folder or anything if you want to do it this way, because there's the ridge right there, so everything will be just fine. And let me put this down, and I need to find all of my measurements here. So our first score line is going to be right between these two cuts. Okay, right up here. And that is 3/4 of an inch from the end. So you can either come in this direction and find 3/4 of an inch, or you can do the math from this direction. And so 8.5 inches minus 3/4 is going to be 7 3/4. So I can put this into 7 3/4. And that is going to line everything up right there where it needs to be. And I'm just going to score right between those two lines. So we don't want to go edge to edge. We just want to score right where those start. Okay? And then the next one is at 1.5 inches. So you can either move this ahead to 7 inches, which would be just like this, or at this point you can turn it around if it's easier for you and come in at 1.5 inches. So we have 1, 1.25, 1.5. Get that lined up. And again, we are only scoring from the line to this line. Okay, so from the cut to the cut. And actually, this is really hard for me because I am nowhere near this looking over it, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping that I'm in the right place on all of these. All right, so now we've scored at 3/4 of an inch and at 1.5 inches. And I'm going to bring this over here really quick. So just like in the diagram, there's a score line between the two cuts, and there's a score line between the two cuts. Now we're going to go to the next one, and so that would be 4 1/4 inches. So we're just going to slide this down to 4 1/4 inches, but this time we're not doing the middle, we're just doing the edges. So from the edge right here over to the cut is all we're doing on that side, and then over here it's the same thing. So from this edge, like I said, I cannot do this without sticking my head in here, but there we go. Okay, so now you can see why it would be hard on the scoreboard, because you have to do here and then you have to skip this whole section and hope that you're lined up at the other end. So this is just easier for me. Okay, so the next one is going to be at 5 inches, which is a real pain with this one because the 5-inch line is like right in here somewhere. So what I'm going to do, 5 inches from 8.5 is 3.5. No. From 8.5, if you come in 3.5 inches, you're at 5. I know I'm probably confusing you, turning things around and doing the measurements differently. So just remember that you can print this out from my blog post, and the link is below, or you can, pause and do a screenshot earlier when I have this on the screen. But this is just what's easy for me. So again, I have it at 3.5 inches, and so 3.5 inches from this end brings us up to 5, and we are just going to score between the cut lines. And that will be, if I can get my head over it, that will be what connects the end of the cut lines. Okay, so let me pull it out so you can see. So it goes right across there. All right, now What is the next one? It is 6 3/8. Let me double check on that one. Okay, 6 3/8. And so I'm going to open this up, and now I'm going to turn it around the other way. Okay, and 6 3/8, there's 6, 6 1/4, 6 3/8 is right there. And this one will be all the way across. So we'll start right there where the groove is and go all the way across. And I almost pushed too hard there. I have to be careful. I don't want to cut right through this. Okay, so there we go. And now we are ready to start doing the folding. Okay, now it's time to start folding, and I'm going to turn it over this way because this is the front of the card. And we are going to go from left to right. So I'm going to turn it over this way so that you can see where the first score line is just right here at the 3/4. And over here, see if you could see this good. This is the side that is wider with just one score line here, but we're going to start over here on that end. So the first one we're going to do is a mountain fold, and we are just folding that space right there between the two cuts on that score line. So mountain. The next one is a valley, and again it is just right there between the two cut lines, just like that. Look at that, we're already starting to make a shadow box. Okay, now we're going to come over here to that end, and we're going to do a mountain. And oh, I forgot these are also a mountain. So remember those two that are just on the sides here? Mountain and mountain. So far we have gone mountain, valley, mountain, and mountain. So shadow box. And this one over here is going to be a valley fold. And once it's folded and flattened out, and you probably want to use a bone folder, which I did not bring over here with me, so I'm using my fingers. But now it is the size of an A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then it opens up just like that. So now we have the base for our card. Okay, so before we decorate this, and here I'm going to show you all sides really quick so you can see front and back. Okay. I did this one in a pattern paper, which means I don't have to add layers over the top of it anywhere except, you know, where I'm decorating. But I did want to show you, I'm going to set that aside, that you can do layers. Up here I have 2 layers. I have the pink, and then on top of that I have the pink and white polka dot. And I did that on all 3 of these sides, and also right here on that inside piece, which is optional. And then back here I only have 1 layer, which is the pink polka dot. And my reasons for doing that, you can go ahead and laugh, but I ran out of the pink scraps, and I said, oh well, it still worked for me. And then I put, you know, an image in there, did some decorating, as you can see, some flowers, butterfly. I did a die cut over here with a sentiment on it. But on the very back is a perfect place to put a sentiment. You can just go ahead and cut out a piece that'll fit there, whether you do it square, oval, round, whatever you want to do, and then you can, you know, adhere that to the back for your sentiment and where you would sign it. So this is really cute. And another one that I did, on this one, I only put 1 layer here, but on this side, I did 2 layers. So just the opposite of the one I just showed you. So if you're going to say, well, what size, you know, what dimensions did you use? I'm leaving that up to you because it all depends on whether you want 1 layer or 2 layers, whether you want any layers, because maybe you'll be doing it out of pattern paper. And when you're doing layers, some people like to do it 1/8 of an inch smaller each direction, some 1/4 of an inch. So I'm actually completely leaving it up to you on how you do the layers of the card, whether you do it this way, or this way. There are so many possibilities. So now let me show you what I have planned for decorating this one. I have already created some panels for my card. So obviously it's going to be a happy birthday card, got a little cupcake on there, and on this one I cut out some Mylar balloons and another cupcake. And so this panel, which you can cut any size you want. Now I cut this one a little bit smaller so that there's actually a border around it, and I used a scalloped edge. You can just put a circle or an oval or a square. You can just, however you want to decorate it. And then on this end is where I'm going to be putting this one. So I'm going to go glue those on and I'll be right back. And there we go. So it'll fold like this to go in the envelope. And when the recipient pulls it out, it will go like this to stand up. And my camera is not at an angle so that you can see it from the front. But I'm going to put up some pictures here at the end showing you these cards standing up at a good angle, and I may do some more decorating to this one. And if you're new to my channel and you're wondering why I am not showing you how to do all of these layers and what all the measurements are for the layers and all of the decorating, it is because I want to teach you how to do a card fold, but I want all of the decorating to be yours, your idea. I'm going to give you inspiration by showing you some things that I've done, but I really don't think you need me to teach you how to decorate because you have your own creativity and it may be totally different than mine. You may have completely different ideas on how to decorate these, and that's what I want you to do. I want you to use your own creativity when it comes to decorating. I just want to show you how to do the fold and inspire you with a few ideas on how I've decorated. I really love the possibilities with this card, and if you're one of those people that love to put tons of embellishments and flowers and things, it will be perfect for this. Okay, I really hope I didn't confuse you guys because I know I was turning things different ways to do the measurements, and I just kind of do things in a kind of crazy way. But don't forget, down in the description box is a link to my blog post that will have that you can print it out. It'll be like a picture file. You just click on it and print it out. Or you can, pause the beginning of the video and do a screenshot, however you want to do it. But I think those directions will probably be a lot easier to follow than what I just showed you. And if you want to see the original directions on how to do this as a 5x7, don't forget that there's a link below to LJ's channel, which is Create with Skudgecraft. I don't know. Please forgive me, LJ. But anyways, there's a link below to her channel. In fact, there's a link below to that video, and I think you're going to love it. So that way you'll find out how to do it as a 5x7 or as an A2 size. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.